Hello. Hey, today is April Fool's, so we're gonna make some tricky food. I have a real box of tacos here, and I was looking at it and it kind of made me hungry. So I thought, well, can I make a fake taco because it's April Fool's Day just for fun? So here, we're gonna start with tacos. And what you need are some construction paper scraps and a lot of different colors and some glue sticks and some tissue paper and some scissors and maybe some markers and oh, I always like to have around things to draw circles with because a lot of things are kind of circles. Tomatoes are circles, cucumbers are circles, onions are circles. So we're going to use some of those. Oh, did I say glue sticks? Yeah, and a pencil. So I was taking a look at my real taco shell because that's what we're going to start with today is a real or a taco that's fake, but here's a real one. And I was looking at it and it looks like it's got kind of crinkles on it and maybe some dark seeds where it toasted. So we're going to try to make one that looks like this, only out of paper. So I'll get my real taco shell out of the way. And I was trying to match the color of my real taco shell with some of my scraps of construction paper. And I do have one that kind of matches. It's not quite, it's a little bit lighter. Or I could just use yellow. So I think what I'm going to do is use my yellow. And so I have about a half a sheet of construction paper. And what I'm going to do is just so you can fold it in half like that. But to make those crinkly crinkles, I'm going to crush it like this. So if you have half a sheet of construction paper, you can crush it up into a ball just like that. And then open it up and see what it looks like. Oh wow, okay, it's got crinkly crinkles, so I'm going to do it again because I want a lot of them. And so I'm taking my piece of paper and crushing it up into a ball. And I'm going to open it up. And right now it's not the same shape, but it's got a lot of the crinkles. So what I'm going to do is put it down here on my table, and I'm going to draw the curved edge onto my paper. And I got a pencil right here. And so I'm going to start from the corner, and I'm going to go up and around the shape of a taco shell back down to the other corner. So I'm going to do that with a marker so you can see it better and hold it up to the screen. So what I did was I started at the corner. I went up over there and back down over to the corner here. Now, let's hold that up. So I drew a taco shell onto my crushed up piece of paper. So now, next I'm going to cut that. And then, remember, it's folded in half. Oh yeah, I did fold it in half. And I drew the shape of the shell. And now I'm going to cut it. Okay, here we go. Cut, 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 cut. Just cut along my curved mark. Now, what do you think? Does it look more like a taco shell? I think so. Check it out. Not bad. All right, so I have, and I can always put more crunches in it. Now, what you can do is, I took a look at my taco shell, and it's got a lot of like brown toasty marks. So I have a brown marker, or you can do a brown crayon or anything like that. And I'm going to put some dots on it. So as you can see, I'm just sprinkling it with some brown dots to make it look like a toasted taco shell. I'm going to do that on the back too. I'm just speckling it. My speckled taco shell. Okay, so there is a taco shell. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put something yummy inside. There's the taco shell. So let's put something yummy inside. What do you like on your tacos? A lot of people do beans, and a lot of people do ground beef. So we're gonna we're going to kind of cut a square, well, not a square, but a rectangle. And we're going to do some beans or beef on a little sheet of paper. And again, I am going to crush it up. And I'm going to make it look like beans. So what should I do to make it look like beans? You know, I think that maybe if I took like a marker that's darker than my construction paper and maybe draw some little circles to make it look like it's beans. Sometimes I like black beans on my tacos too, but I'm going to go with brown because I had a scrap of construction paper. So there we go. All right, so I just drew a whole bunch on there and I crushed it up. This is real easy. And I'm going to stick it into my taco shell on the bottom. So I stuck it in just like that so it kind of sticks up. Now it's going to fall out unless I try to glue it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is flatten out my shell, stick a little bit of glue in there, right on the crease, and then I'm going to stick my beans or ground beef to it, just like that. So it's kind of puffy. See how it's sticking up? I'm going to fold my shell. So it's sticking out and sticking up, and it's right inside. Oh, I'm going to need some more glue. That did not work. But maybe if I put some on both, then it will. Oh, much better. Much better. There, now I've got some right inside. Okay, so let's make something that looks really cool. We're going to use this for the tacos and the pizza. We're going to make a tomato. Woo! A tomato to stick in the taco. So to do that, I'm going to move for my stuff, and we can use the tabletop camera so I can show you how to make a tomato. All right, so tomatoes are red. So, whoops, there we go. I'm going to use a red piece of construction paper, and I have a lot of different sizes of cans and jars and lids to make circles because it's just the easy way that I don't have to worry about it. So I am going to draw a circle on my red construction paper. There's a big round tomato, and then I'm going to cut it out right around that circle. Now I want it to look really cool, like a real tomato. So I'm going to add some detail with my tissue paper. Let's put this up here. So how am I going to do that? Now, here's the one I made beforehand, and you can see that there's these lighter wedges. That's tissue paper, and we're going to make some wedges and stick them to our tomato there. So I have some white tissue paper, and I'm going to open it up, and I am going to cut kind of a strip of my tissue paper. Whoops. Right here. I'm cutting a strip of tissue paper. See how I cut a strip of tissue paper right there. And that's what I got. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. Now I'm going to cut wedges. Oh, that's in the way. Okay, so I'm going to cut wedges. So I took my strip of paper and I cut an angle and then a little chunk like that. Now that wedge is way too big. So I'm going to cut it down a little bit. And a wedge for my tomato. There. Now I'm going to stick that on there. Now I'm going to cut a couple more of those. So my strip is too fat, so I'm going to cut it smaller like that so my wedges will be smaller. So I always start with an angle cut right there to make it into a wedge. There's another wedge. And since I already have, oops, since I already have an angled line right there, I'm just going to do an angle there. And there's, oops, got really, there we go. Another wedge. And I'm going to cut one right here. Whoops. There, I have a bunch of wedges. I think that's enough wedges. So that kind of looks cool. And I am going to put, I have a little piece that I'm going to just kind of use for the center to make it look cool. There we go. We have a tomato. So what you do is just take your glue stick and glue those down so your tomato looks real. So the tissue paper won't fall off. There's one wedge. And you can also take all the wedges off and just do a whole bunch of glue and then stick them back on. That's probably the easiest to do. One stuck to my finger. Okay, so I'm just putting a whole lot of glue around my tomato. And rather than trying to glue each little piece, which is hard, stick them on like that. I just put a bunch of glue on my tomato. And there we go. And I have a little chunk stuck to my finger, so I'm going to stick that in the middle. And then I'll wedge over here. Oh, does it look like I need one more wedge? It does, doesn't it? So I'm going to cut one and take a small one and stick it right there. Okay, so now we have a tomato. That's pretty cool. How are you doing there? Did you get a tomato? So I'm going to put that back inside my taco so it kind of sticks out like that. See how that sticks out? So there's my beans or my beef, and there's my tomato sticking out. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue stick right on the edge. And I love veggies. Okay, so there's my tomato sticking right out of my taco. And I'm going to take a bite in a minute. So now, you know, sometimes put lots of things like cheese. Oh, here's my other tomato. I might as well put that on there too. Sticking out the other side. So now I have two tomatoes. There we go. Now, a lot of times put cheese on tacos. So I have a piece of orange paper that I'm going to use next. I'm going to get my taco out of the way for a second. And we're going to make some cheese. So what I'm going to do is take my scissors and do some skinny strips. There. And there. And there. Now you can use yellow construction paper too, or you can use any kind of paper and color them with your markers. So now I've got about 4 different strips, and this is going to be my cheese. And so what I want it to do is look really shredded. So what I'm doing is I'm folding it back and forth and back and forth. So it looks kind of zigzaggy like that, see? And I'm going to do that with all of my cheese, all of my orange thin stripes. Cheese, 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 back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth, and back and forth. Boing! So we've got some boingy cheese sticking out here. And those we're going to put in the taco too. And here we go. And da-da-da. Whoops, there we go. One more. One more. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Good old cheese. So you can always figure out a way to kind of simulate what you like on your taco. So here's my taco, and I want some cheese. Oops, there we go. I want some cheese on my taco. So I'm going to stick, see there's a flat edge kind of everywhere. So I'm going to stick the flat edge of my cheese so it'll hang outside my shell. And there's another little piece right there. I want most of the cheese flapping around, so I'm just doing the flat edge of one of the folds and sticking it so it's sticking out of my shell. And over here like this. And this is going to be a tricky taco because it's April Fool's Day. Here's another flat edge that I'm glue sticking. And I'm going to stick that up here. Now let's see what it looks like when I fold it up. Oh yeah, I got some cheese sticking out of my taco. It's starting to look yummy. Well, a lot of people love veggies on their tacos, so I'm going to show you how to make a cucumber. Look at that. And then we'll make some lettuce. So I have a piece of green paper now, and I'm going to cut a circle, and there's my circle. Whoops, I'm not on camera. There we go. There's my green paper. And there's my circle can that I like to trace. So I'm tracing a cucumber. Yummy veggies. I think that, can you see my circle that I traced? Ooh, it's kind of light, but I'm cutting a circle, and I'm going to turn it into a cucumber with some tissue paper. So I cut my circle, and get my big piece of green out of the way, and my big piece of orange out of the way. That was the cheese. There's my green cucumber. So now let's turn it into something that looks a little bit more real. I've got some tissue paper here, and I've got my circle, and I'm going to hold it onto the tissue paper, and I'm going to cut around it so I have sort of a circle, whoops, of tissue paper. Dun, 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 dun. But it's too big. So now I'm going to put my green cucumber down, and I'm going to make this smaller. So I'm going to go around and make a smaller circle out of this piece of tissue paper. There it is. And it's smaller than my cucumber, but then the edges show up on the side. So a little bit of glue stick. And stick that in the middle. And you know what? I am saving this trim that I trimmed my circle down, because you know what it looks like? Onions! Okay, so there's one that I made before and one that I just made. So we're going to add some seeds with some green construction paper trim. And I had just a little bit left over from when I cut the circles. So I'm going to cut that up into 3 different triangles, or almost triangles. So there we go, a little triangle there, and a sort of triangle there, and one more. Wow, little baby triangle right there, but you could do any shape. It would look like a seed anyway. And so then, okay, back in the camera, there it is. Let's make some seeds in the middle. Put some glue stick right in the middle, and ta-da, and ta-da, there's the third one, and one more. See how that looks like if you cut a slice of cucumber? There is the middle of the cucumber. So now we have 2 cucumbers. Gonna put that on the taco. So we got the cheese hanging out. We got the, whoops, sticking to my glue stick. We got the tomato sticking out. Now I'm going to stick a cucumber in there. And right there, fold it up. I've got something that's starting to look really yummy. I better put another one in there, don't you think? Okay, whoops, that didn't stick. Stay stuck. And another one. Oh, and some lettuce. Now, you can do a lot of different things with lettuce. Right now, I had a piece of green tissue paper, and that would look like lettuce, I think. Or I could use just some more of my white, and I could take a green marker. There's my white, wait, where we go? There we go. I could take my white tissue paper and use a whole bunch of green marker all over it, like that, and do lettuce. There's lots of ways you can make it look like something that you would want to eat. So there's some green lettuce, or I could just use some green construction paper like I did before. I lost my strip of green construction paper. Here it is. Or, yeah, I could take and maybe rip some green construction paper, so it's kind of uneven, and then I can crush it up again. And stick it on there. So there's lots of ways that you could do this. Start to think of different ways. So that could be lettuce too. So I'll put that in there. So I've got lots of veggies in my taco, and some healthy beans and some cheese. And there we go. There's my lettuce. There it is. Whoa, doesn't that look good? All right, yum. So now I'm going to close my taco and eat it up. So we'll go back to the FaceTime camera here and check it out. There's our taco. Oh, look what you got. I see some cucumbers. Great. So there's my taco. Oh, look at your taco. Yum. Yours is looking good. Wonderful. Now, it's going to come apart, so you can put a bunch of glue on this edge if you want it to stay together. And then squeeze it and hold it, and eventually it'll stay together. So I've got cheese and veggies and beans and tomatoes and cucumbers, all kinds of good stuff. All right, so there's our taco. So now we're gonna move along to pizza. Are you ready? I hope so. I'm gonna put my taco down and eat that later. April Fool. Okay, so what you need to make a piece of pizza is a lunch bag. And I made a crust right here, but I'll show you how we did it. I took the pizza, or I'm gonna make a pizza crust out of just a lunch bag, and of course my construction paper strips and some of the other things that we did. So if you notice, there's two sides to a lunch bag. There's the side with the flap, and then the side that's just all together with the bottom of the bag, but the flap is right there. So what you want to do is you take it to the flap side and you start to roll it. We're gonna make a piece of pizza. So you see how I rolled up edge crust? So that's what we're gonna do. And now pizza is a wedge shape. So now we're gonna turn it over to the back side. And I think I better turn on my tabletop camera again so you can see it better. There we go. Okay, we're gonna use that tissue paper again. Okay, so there it is, there it is, there it is, there it is. I rolled it up. And this is, I'm gonna do it again so you can see it. This is the flap side. See, there's the flap. And I just started rolling it from the end like that. And I'm gonna use my glue stick to make it stay. Here we go, making it stay. So put some glue on the flap so it'll roll, and I put some glue under the flap. And then I re-roll it, and I'm gonna get sticky because it's glue. And there it goes. So there's the end of my crust. That's looking good. Maybe a little bit more glue. There we go. So now I'm gonna turn it over because we're gonna turn it into a wedge like this. So I'm gonna turn it over. And you can kind of see the middle of this edge. So there's the middle, and I'll hold my finger on the middle and hold my other finger on the edge of the crust and fold it over. It's a big triangle shape. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Pull it all the way over like this. And fold it over. So that's what it looks like. So that's the back side. Here's the front side. Okay, I'm going to turn it to the back. Now these flaps are sticking up. So what we want to do is, of course, lots of glue sticks. Glue those flaps right down so that they don't come up. And you won't see the back side when you're done because we're going to put all the good stuff on this side. Okay, so now sometimes I put sauce on my pizza, and sauce is made out of tomatoes, so I'm going to use my red marker and I'm going to color over the bag so my pizza has some sauce. All right, sauce, sauce, sauce on my pizza with a marker. Or you could do crayons. Or if you want to, you can just leave it plain too. Not everybody likes sauce, but I like tomato sauce. Okay, so there we go. So now we can start making some really cool stuff to make it look like a real piece of pizza. And I think that we need, well, maybe some pepperoni. And so what I'm going to do is have pepperoni is kind of reddish brown. So I'm going to take my red construction paper and my another circle. I have a smaller one. I have a circle cup, and it's a little smaller than the tomato that I cut there. Whoops, you can't see. So I'm going to do a circle out of my little cup, or you can just kind of draw your own circle the size that you want and cut it out. And cut around my circle that I made. I think my piece of pepperoni is too big. Oh, I can cut it down. That's one big piece of pepperoni. So now I have some crayons here, or you could do markers. But I have a yellow crayon, or if you had a yellow marker, you could do that too. And I'm going to put, the crayon doesn't show up very well. I wonder if the marker does. The marker works better. So I'm putting the pepperoni dots on my piece of pepperoni with my marker. Shows up way better than the crayon did. Okay, it's speckled. And since it's so big, I'm going to cut it in half. And I'm going to add it to my pizza. Yeah, okay, so a little bit of glue stick. And a little bit of glue stick. And tape it down. And not tape it down, glue it down. And there I have some pepperoni on my pizza, just a little bit. Okay, so another thing that people sometimes like on their pizza are mushrooms. So I have some more brown construction paper, and I'm going to get out a marker that's dark so you can see it, and I'm going to draw a mushroom cap. So it's kind of like a circle. It's kind of like an umbrella. There's the top that's an umbrella. And then it's got a little stem. So if you're doing this, you can draw an umbrella with a little stem. And then if you want to, you can kind of add some more color to it. Woo, mushrooms! Okay, so my pizza's gonna have mushrooms here. I'm gonna cut them. Oops. And around we go. There's a little mushroom. Stick it on there. And another one. So next, I'm going to use something that's not construction paper. If you have some yarn, we can make some fake green pepper. Oops, I better glue those mushrooms down before they get away from me. In fact, I almost lost one right now. Okay, there's a mushroom. And there's a mushroom. Let's make some fake green pepper. Okay, so I have some green yarn. And I'm just going to cut off little chunks of green yarn. It's going to look so good. There's a little chunk. There's a little chunk. Just little chunks. That looks like green pepper, right? So I'm just going to scatter them. I put a little bit of glue random places on my piece of pizza and tried to stick my green pepper over the top. And oh, right there. Ta-da. And right there. How you doing? I hope you're working hard on your pizza, putting yummy stuff on it that you like. Oops. You know what? I've got more green pepper stuck to my fingers than I do to the pizza. That was very hard. Okay, stuck. That's looking good. What else do I need on this pizza? Oh, I think I need some cheese, right? That's what I'm missing. I need some cheese. So I have lots and lots of yellow paper scraps, and I'm going to cut some little strips like this. And then maybe a chunk like this. Oops, little chunk. I like chunks. Chunks of cheese. And another chunk. Just random shapes. Kind of like chunks. That makes it look good. And a strip and a chunk. Okay, well, I got a lot of cheese here to put on my pizza, don't you think? All right, more glue sticks, more glue sticks. And so I'm just going to put some glue randomly on my pizza. Uh-oh. And try to stick my cheese to it. Whoa. There we go. Stick, stick, stick. Cheese all over my yummy pizza. Some up here. And some down here. Lots of good stuff. Yeah. And oops. One more chunk over here. Okay, good. Oh, I just lost some of my green pepper fell off. There we go. Okay. So it's starting to look really good, I think. What I need, I think, are some, I like onions. And there's kind of two different ways to make onions. Show you how to make this one, and then we'll go back to the tissue paper too. Now, of course, I'm going to start with a circle. Let me get this out of the way. A circle, a circle, a circle, a circle. Oops. Always with the circle. This is a smaller circle. It's not going to fit. There we go. This is going to be sort of an uneven circle, but that is okay because when you look at vegetables, they're not always a perfect circle. I'm cutting this out. This is going to be kind of a weird looking circle, but that's okay. So now the next thing I did was I took a crayon and I just started drawing a spiral all around my onion. See how that white crayon, I'm just drawing circles and circles and circles and circles and circles around my onion. Pretty cool. So that's one way to do an onion. And you could do it out of a different color too. I did one out of purple. There's my purple one. So I think I like the purple one. On camera, you really can't tell hardly the difference. So I think I'm going to use the purple one, and I'm going to cut it in half so it's a nice big chunk and stick it on there. Oh, yum. yummy onions up. You know what? I'm going to cut it even in quarters. You can cut them up so they don't have to be all over the place, covering up your other cool looking stuff. I'll put some onions up here and an onion right here. And I'm going to show you 2 other ways to make onions. And then we're going to have a great looking pizza. Now, remember when we had cut a circle out of the white tissue paper? Oh, here it is. Yeah. You can cut little strips of onion out of white tissue paper, and it really looks like onion because it's so thin and oniony. There's a strip. So I had a little bit of onion to put on my pizza from cutting up really thin pieces of tissue paper. Yeah. Onions on my pizza. Oh, and one more last thing that you might want is, there's some onions. Okay, is black olives. They look kind of cool. So I'm going to actually cut a couple of tiny circles by folding over the edge just a little bit. This is the last thing we're going to make. And I'm going to take right on the edge. So I'm cutting 2 at a time and make a little tiny circle. And I'm not even drawing this one. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just, whoops, I'm not on camera. There we go. I'm just making 2 little black dots. Now the cool thing about olives is if you take out the pit, there's a hole in the middle. So I'm going to use my hole punch and punch a hole right in the middle of my black piece of paper. Uh-oh, I think I ripped it. No, I didn't. It's just stuck inside my, there. It's just stuck inside my hole punch. And so I'm gonna punch one more circle. It sticks inside my hole punch and my hole punch won't let it go. Come on, there we go. Ta-da! So I have a little black olive by cutting a circle and doing a hole punch. And of course, back with my glue stick. And that is my yummy piece of pizza for April Fool's Day. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the FaceTime camera and let's take a look at it up close. Here we go. Ta-da. Okay, so here it is. That's what it turned out looking like. Pizza. And I got to grab my taco. Whoa, oh, my lettuce fell out. Oh no. Okay, pizza and tacos. There we go. Oh, look at your pizza. I love it. That's looking great. That's good enough to eat, right? Yum. Well, thanks for coming to Kids Craft Time today. Great tacos and pizza. Happy April Fool's Day. I saw something I had never, ever seen before. And here's where you get to make a choice. Was it a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex? And I'm just gonna stick some pine cones in my box, and then the fun starts. I just start rolling them around. The air rushing out of the balloon is gonna push that balloon up. So let's see what happens. All right, 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow. So that's how rockets kind of work. We are going to build 2 different kinds of rockets today.